She is joining me right now. Her name is Tatevik, the gamer, and she is with me right now. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Hi, Kenny. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
You sure did.
I feel better. That is great. I'm just so honored to have you on the show. I've been a fan of Wild Wrestling for quite some time. A lot of people told me a lot of great things about you, that you have a bright future in this business, and I look forward to see more things of you going forward. Um, so let's go ahead and begin this interview. Now, last year on Wild Wrestling, you made your debut up against Santana Garrett, who is one half of the tag team champions. How did you feel about your debut match
Oh, my
versus
debut.
Santana?
Well, first off, when I found out I was wrestling Santana Garrett, I was really excited. I went around like family and friends, and I told them, guess who I'm wrestling? Guess who I'm wrestling? And Santana Garrett. So I was pretty excited and blown away that my first match was going to be between with Santana. She's a really fun-loving, really, really good worker, and really sweet girl. So I had a really great time.
I've been familiar with Santana as well. If just like you, she has a bright future as well. She's had some
Mhm.
sensational matches as well. I mean, Wild Wrestling is to me starting to become the next big thing in women's wrestling, especially on the West
Mhm.
Coast. I mean,
Right.
you think of Shimmer, you think of WSU, you think of Shine. That's mostly on the Midwest and the South. But Wild Wrestling is definitely making a name for itself. Um, and speaking of Wild Wrestling, there was some controversy in your next match against Jungle. Um, is there any chance you will have a rematch with her in the future?
Oh, absolutely. I don't see why not. I mean, she's a really strong competitor and similar to myself, and I think that me and her have a really good balance. Like that good and bad. We have a good balance between one another, and we give the good crowd some good action, and we give them something to talk about when they go home to their friends and family, and hopefully look forward to seeing us again in the future. So I definitely wrestle her again.
All I know is Wild Wrestling fans, they left after that match saying we want more. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants to win. Like that the whole controversy, that whole situation, how it ended. I mean, it's like any other athlete. There's a winner, there's a loser, and
Mhm.
it's just left with a question mark at the end. Like people want more. People want to see you and Jungle go at it again. So hopefully, Wild
Mhm.
Wrestling will make that happen in the future. Uh, you know, there are ways for wrestlers to prepare, whether it's exercising, maybe listening to music, maybe
Mhm.
yoga, things like that. But how do you prepare for your matches? How do you prepare, to compete in the ring?
Oh man, I guess I just focus on getting out of my head. Sometimes there's a lot of nerves obviously to deal with before you're putting on a show, and personally, the way that I prepare is I make sure that I'm stretched out. That's number one for me. I've stretched out and warmed up. Music is really important because music calms down my nerves and just kind of gets me out of my head, so I'm not thinking so much. So by the time I'm on the stage, I'm ready to go without hesitating.
So you have done some training with Selena Majors and former WWF Women's Champion Leilani Kai, a living
Hmm.
legend in this business. Um, what's it like to be training with those two? Especially Leilani, a legend in this business.
Yeah, really fun. And everybody I train with, I have such a great time, and when I'm training with each and every person, I get something different, and they're all special. I can really pinpoint and say, I don't learn any much from her or much from him. Like, I learn something from everybody, and that's the best part. And every time that I'm learning, when I'm studying with somebody, I go in fresh. I'm like a new student with each and every person. And Selena is obviously, she's wonderful, and Selena and Leilani, I think they're complete opposites in their style. Like Selena is a really strong baby face, and Leilani is a really strong heel. And Selena is really fiery and really fast, and they're both very technical and both very big. It's just a matter of, their styles are a little bit different, but both wonderful. I can't say anything bad about them.
I'm going to read a quote from Leilani and what she said about you. This is a quote from Leilani, and I quote, "I've never seen anyone in the sport that could do so many things. She is multi-talented, extremely hardworking. I'm predicting success for Tatevik like we haven't seen in a long time. She is going to bridge many gaps between sports and entertainment. The wrestling world should get ready for an exciting ride," and quote. To
Wow.
That you talk about high praise. I mean, how does that make you feel? To
Well, she doesn't give enough credit to herself. That's really humbling to me, especially coming from somebody like Leilani Kai. That's really a humbling feeling, and I think that all in all, she sees how hard I work, and a part of me reminds her of herself. When she was younger, and it means a lot to me coming from someone like Leilani. I respect her a lot, and I truly I love her. I love her. So thank you.
I got a lot of respect for Leilani. I mean, I know I was a young pup, when she was, getting started in wrestling. I mean, I've been keeping up with her work and everything, and for a legend like that, praise like that don't come very often, and
That's true.
For her to give you, the high praise like that, I mean, that's saying something. And I get how veterans and up and comers or newcomers, they may not see eye to eye at times, but obviously y'all two are on the same page, and she has a lot of faith in you going forward, and that's great. That's great to hear.
She makes me want to work harder, especially when I hear her say something like that. She makes me want to work 10 times more than I'm doing today, tomorrow. So that's really wonderful.
Another person that you've been working with is Steve Stasiak, who has become a very good friend of mine on Facebook. I've got a lot of respect for him as well. How did he assist you in your training, and how did y'all two, talk, chat with each other? How did that relationship came about?
Well, Steve's been in the wrestling business for a very long time, since he was 15. So he's been around a lot of people and a lot of wrestlers. And when I joined WoW, I think that he took notice automatically and saw that I was different. I come with a lot of background, physical, athletic. So when he saw me in the ring and he saw how I worked, he took in more interest to see what else I can do. And, he started training me, and, I had a great time, working with Steve. We bonded. He's a good friend of mine. He's my business partner. And he's one of the people that I can say that I fully trust in this business. And there's not many people I can say that about, and you have to have that one person that you can say, I trust this person. And Steve is that for me.
In addition to Selena and Leilani, who else do you consider as influences in your career? It could be anyone that's in the pros. It could be anyone from the indie scene, anyone particular. Who do you consider as influences in your career?
I think I'm going to have to say my mother. My mom is one of my biggest influence in everything that I do, whether it's wrestling or, martial arts. It's any step that I take, my mom is one of my biggest influences. She's one of my heroes. And she works so hard, and I get my work ethic and my knowledge from my mother. So she definitely plays a very big part, in the rise of my career.
Mama done made you proud. You done made Mama proud. You done made Mama.
I hope so.
So, in addition to Wild Wrestling, do you have any upcoming wrestling matches that you would like to promote?
I do. I have a lot of things going on right now. A lot of stuff coming up. In terms of WoW, we're not scheduled to have a show until the fall season, and I think we're supposed to have one here in my hometown in Los Angeles in the summertime, but there's no confirmation on that, so I can't confirm it right now. And I do have a surprise, something very big coming up very soon, but I can't tell you about it. It's a bit of a secret. You're going to have to follow me on Facebook if you want to find out more later.
In other words, stay tuned. And
yes.
Stay tuned. And so,
oh yeah.
I hear you mentioned martial arts. I hear you also do kickboxing, and you've been training with a legendary sensei, Benny the Jet. And I've seen a lot of wrestlers throughout the years of being a wrestling fan, and it's not often that I see someone add kickboxing to their arsenal when they're competing in the ring. So what's the training like when you out there kickboxing?
Very intense, obviously very physical, but I think most importantly, it's very mental and emotional at the same time. They say when you're in the ring and when you're in full combat, it's 80% mental, 20% physical. But 99.9% of the time, it's always emotional. When you're in the ring and you have a threat, that's what Yukido-kan is. Sensei Benny's philosophy, Yukido-kan is the way of life. And Yukido-kan doesn't teach you just, how to kick and punch. It teaches you how to deal with your own emotions when you're handling a threat. And so how do you do that? Then obviously, comes with the training, and it takes years and years and years to master that. I haven't mastered that for myself, but I'm in it every day. So, but it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
I hear you have a black belt there, correct?
No, we don't have belts. In Yukido-kan karate, there are belts, but in kickboxing there aren't any belts. It's by levels.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yes.
I must have got karate and kickboxing mixed up for some reason, but speaking, for people that wants to learn more for you and find out what you have coming up, why don't you go ahead and promote your social media links, Facebook, Twitter, or any other links people need to know?
Of course. People can follow me on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Wow Tatevik. And, just for those who can't spell my name, it's Tatevik.
All right, so everybody go like her on Facebook. She'll keep in touch with y'all on what she's got going on, and she also interact with her fans as well. So, just
Yes, I am a human being.
yes, yes, she is a human. I mean, so in the flesh. So go like her on Facebook. There's another thing I want to get into, and I'm trying to pronounce this correctly. You are the first Armenian woman wrestler.
Good job.
Wow, I'm on a roll this evening. I'm not
You are.
trying not to get full of myself, but when you hear that, being the first at something, especially on the wrestling industry, which we got your Caucasians and African Americans and Samoans and Spanish and Latinos, but people of your culture to be in the wrestling stage, how does that make you feel?
Oh, personally, man, I feel great. It feels a little surreal, to be honest with you. To be the first of anything, it's a big deal, and especially for my culture, and I hope that I hope that they're just as excited as I am. I'm a little worried though about how the older generation is going to perceive the wrestling world because they don't have too much of an insight. So maybe I can shine some light on them. I'm sure I'll share a little bit a story with you. The other day I was at some Armenian restaurant and I was picking up some food to go, and I ran into an old friend of my mother's. The last time she saw me, I was probably like 10 years old, and so she recognized me right away. We got into a little bit of a small talk, and she came out and said, "So what are you doing now? School, work, so forth." And I told her, I hesitated to tell her what I do because I don't like to go around and tell people exactly what I'm involved in. But I did. I came out and I told her I wrestle and I fight also. And she looked at me like, "Are you serious?" Like it almost like she was a little afraid for me. And then 2 minutes later, she said that I'm just living in my dreams. Like she took a big sigh. She's like, "Oh, you're dreaming." She just put me down, like straight up cut me right there. And I didn't argue with her. I agreed with her. I said, "Yeah, you're right. Don't worry about it. But maybe one day you'll change your opinion. You'll have a different opinion." And she said, "Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I hope you become very successful and everything, turns out the way you want it to. But, I think that's the minority that I'm worried about a little bit, who don't understand and they want to pass judgment too soon and too quickly."
It's definitely unfortunate that we do live in a judging society. I mean, people want to talk about what the people do for a living, and they don't quite understand the craft, the dedication that wrestlers like yourself do. I mean, it's more than just what you see on TV. It's
Yeah.
putting the moves together. It's communicating, with your opponent. It's a lot
Sending
more.
a message.
Sending a message. It's just entertaining as well. And to all those people that want to doubt or criticize or whatsoever, I mean, unless they understand what you do, then they don't have the right to judge. They don't have the right to say anything whatsoever.
Well, the problem is a lot of people are not happy, and when they see that you're happy or you're successful in some aspect of your life, they don't like that. And I don't know what it is. It's a lot of people. It's society. I don't know what's wrong with society. It's a little scary. That's why I like to keep quiet, especially in my neighborhood and around people, because it's almost like you tell people what you do, and instead of just getting a straight up answer like, a positive, response, like, wow, really? I'm so happy for you. They always turn to a negative, just, and I came to a point where I was like, well, I'm not even going to tell people what I'm doing. They're just going to have to turn the television on one day and tune in.
I'm sorry that people would do that. I mean, you're a nice person, and you care
Okay, thank you.
and you care about what you do for a living, and I mean, I understand not everybody is going to be into the same things, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, as long as they understand what you do and they hope that you do well, then I guess that's all that matters. I mean, because not everybody's going to be into the same thing. Not everybody's going to
Right.
be into
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
And on that note, I want to thank you for being on the show this evening. It was great talking to you. I wish you success. You have my support, and
Thank you.
And I hope to see more of you in the future. Maybe you come here to the East Coast sometime, competing and wrestle. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence, and good luck to you going forward.
Before I leave, I just wanted to plug something real quick.
Oh, go right ahead.
There is a clothing brand who's also a sponsor and a business partnership that I'm with. They're called Fighting Alias, and I just want people to check out and like their Facebook page. They're a really great brand with a lot of potential, and you guys can catch them on Fighter Alias on Facebook.
That is awesome, and it's all for a great cause. Go check them out as well. Shout outs to them, and again, thank you for being on the show this evening.
Well, thank you very much. It was a great pleasure.
You have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.